Pleasure to be here.
Thanks for having us here. I'm Diego Lerni. I'm a principal cloud architect from Vodafone Intelligent Solutions, or VoICE.
I'm Ramesh Gudipati, Enterprise Architect for the Vodafone Voice Intelligence Solutions. Yeah.
And we're here today to talk to you about something that you heard earlier today from Armon, how zero trust solutions are important to protect the perimeter of our environments. When we decided to have this conversation, something that we came up with was an abstract for this talk, and the points that we wanted to raise here were how do we protect our environments from an increase in the malicious attacks from foreign actors, but at the same time respecting the need for agility, speed, and efficiency from our development teams, our engineering teams. If you've been through a digital transformation journey or are currently going through one, you understand how speed and agility are critical. At the same time, we need to integrate with existing systems. We can't just act in isolation. We don't have the benefit of a greenfield as part of a big enterprise. And to do this, we want to leverage the relationships we have with existing trusted partners like HashiCorp. So when we look at the challenges that we face as any enterprise, as I mentioned, we don't have the benefit of a greenfield approach. We need to deal with what's already in place today, how we revisit and reinvent ourselves and the existing solutions. But at the same time, we need to be mindful of geographical fragmentation. As you know, Vodafone Group is a big entity that has local entities in different countries. Every country has its own regulations that we need to be mindful of, and this increases complexity. At the same time, we have systems that sometimes we call legacy, but most of the time our legacy systems are still revenue generating or supporting our revenue. So we need to be mindful of those, we need to be respecting those, but these are designed with a paradigm that don't really fit well with cloud native as we try to do today. This one are the challenge. Also, multi-cloud, our multi-cloud approach is center of our strategy, but multi-cloud increases complexity in itself. So again, it's something that we need to take into account when we look into how we access our systems. And last but not least, the cost of having multiple solutions laying around and maintaining them, supporting them. We have just heard from Stefan how costs spiral quickly when you don't do cloud right, and sometimes what we face is a snowflake approach where you have individual solutions for each individual system, which in themselves, they can be beautifully architected, but they're not sustainable. They're not really scalable as well. So to get away from this, we went to the business and asked them, what are your pain points? What are your needs? What can we do for you? So first of all, we go to HR, and HR gives us a bucket list of pain points and needs. Then we go to cybersecurity. They also have their laundry list of things that they care about. Then you reach IT, and they also have their needs and pain points. And last but not least, we go to our networks team, and again, they have a long list of things that they need us or want us to address. But instead of going through each one individually, a summary of this is that every service and application touches multiple departments and multiple business units. But then, even though the needs for each business unit is individual, they all hark back to the same initial challenges that I mentioned earlier. There's also a multitude of ways of accessing systems. They have their own individual patterns, but they're not conducive to increasing productivity and agility. They hold back our teams, and the ROI for these solutions is quite low because, again, the maintenance cost, the overhead is relatively high. And a standardized and sustainable approach would be the ideal solution. Again, mentioning Stefan earlier, a centralized platform is much more maintainable and sustainable than individual snowflakes. Same goes for access patterns and access solutions. If we look at the current state of things, you can imagine something like this. On your right-hand side, you have your crown jewels. You have your proprietary data, you have your IP, you have your revenue supporting systems. You mention it. On the left-hand side, you have, we put users there, but again, users need to be validated. You could have anything on the left-hand side. It could be a validated and authorized user, but it could be a malicious actor that is trying to access your crown jewels, as I mentioned. In between, you have an abstract of the connectivity between left and right, but the reality is that you have in most cases, in a big enterprise, you have multiple different access systems. You mentioned it, Citrix, CyberArk, remote desktop. There's a lot of different approaches that were either deployed over time to address individual needs of the moment or through acquisitions, etc. So this is what we're facing today, the situation we're in. Then if you think about the risks that everybody faces, so this is not specific to us, it's specific to, it's common to everyone. When we're thinking about data in transit, the robustness of the protection for the connectivity is key. So you have all sorts of exploits related to the network stack. You have man-in-the-middle attacks. You have possible eavesdropping of connectivity. Therefore, you could get data exfiltrated in that way. Or, as I mentioned earlier, you have an increasing number of malicious actors trying to access your systems by spoofing credentials or buying credentials on the black market or exploiting weak authentication and authorization systems. And that's something that we're seeing in the news more and more. At the same time, it's not just malicious actors that we need to concern ourselves with. It's also legitimate users who may have access to more than they need. The least privilege approach is well known to everybody, but it's not always easy to apply. I think it was in the keynote earlier that it was mentioned how in the past we used to consider the inside, the castle, like a sanitized zone where everything was fine, right? That's not the case. These days we don't have any safe zone. We need to keep in mind that the least privilege access and zero trust are key to the security and the safety of our businesses. And then you have, again, attempts to exfiltrate sensitive and critical data. I mentioned company secrets earlier, so possible corporate espionage, encrypting data for ransom requests, and so on and so forth. For a telco, exfiltrating customer data is a big concern, and the TSA, the Telecom Security Act, obviously is intended to deal with that as well. But then what happens if a breach has occurred? What do we do? Are we prepared to deal with the outcome of a breach? Are we prepared to, have we deployed the tools that we need to go back and see what happened and put a plug on it? All these risky scenarios can lead to a number of outcomes that are all non-desirable, from regulatory fines to brand reputational damage, from loss of revenue to loss of competitive advantage through company secrets being stolen, loss in share price, and loss in the investors' confidence. So why did we partner with temperamental clicker? Why did we partner with HashiCorp? We were lucky to have a previous relationship of trust with HashiCorp. I was fortunate to be here in 2023 talking about the telco as a service platform that we developed with help from HashiCorp. And we had the opportunity to work with a trusted partner, and that gives us access to a tried and tested working relationship that helps us expedite the delivery of our solutions and also make sure that the outcome is more predictable, but also the familiarity with partners that support our endeavors gives our stakeholders more peace of mind that we are well looked after. We know the entity we're dealing with, and we have their support. We could see HashiCorp supporting us in many situations where a deadline was looming, and they put their teams to work to support our specific use cases at a short notice. Last but not least, for a big enterprise, vendor onboarding can be a pain, and having an existing relationship with a trusted vendor means that we can expedite the delivery of our project. To mention where we're going from and to, this is part of the existing software stack. So we were already users of Terraform and Vault. PagerDuty is not an HashiCorp product, but is part of the reason why we started this journey integrating HashiCorp and PagerDuty. We are adding to this picture Boundary. And again, you heard from Armon earlier how Boundary is enabling a number of nifty features like transparent sessions and so on. And that's where we are right now. I'll pass it over to Ramesh.
Yeah, before kind of sharing the Vodafone workforce context, let me ask a quick poll. Like, how many of you are working from like a location other than your office today? So at least myself. Yeah, this is like a common thing in the now, like during the COVID or the post-COVID. So the exact like our workforce is no longer tied to the like a single place. So this kind of allows us to kind of see like what kind of different locations where the workforce can work. So, and then also the like what kind of personas the Vodafone has, like customers, partners, employees, and then we have the wide varieties of the workforce here. And then also the kind of the infrastructure services, you have the multi-cloud environment, data center, local data center. So these are kind of wide varieties of infrastructure locations also there. And then additionally, like the device is another factor which adds into the access context. So it could be a mobile or a PC or kind of wearable or VR devices. This can be anything. So this poses the different challenges for the Vodafone to provide the kind of secured access for the workforce. So the like to introduce like a strategy, Vodafone strategy, our strategy focuses around the customers and simplicity and the growth, like the accelerating the accelerating the like customer experience and the driving the positive customer outcomes. So that is one of the strategy, and then driving the simplification and efficiency in the operating model and processes, and then accelerate the mobile and fixed growth in the customer and domain business. So to support this Vodafone strategy, what we have is like to support like IT and then cybersecurity strategy also plays a bigger role. So the one of them is like AI enables the zero touch operations, which is basically to automating IT and network operations to kind of point where the systems can autonomously detect and diagnose and resolve the issues with minimal or no human intervention. Similarly, like zero trust as well. Vodafone cybersecurity strategies focus on the device and then user identity, and make sure that location as a factor into that to validate and the confidence of device identity and device health combination to allow the user access for the infrastructure services. The goal is basically to reduce incident impact and frequency and improve the service availability, reach our target of 10% improvement in like MTTD or and MTTR to achieve the resolve in 1 year, and the same thing we want to increase in the 30% in the next 5 years. So like this model, like workforce access, specifically zero trust workforce access, it breaks into the 4 stages. Like the one is at the source. The source, it could be like a device, a user, a network or location. That could be the factor. The second one is the decision phase, where like you would validate what policies need to be applied for the source and what risk factors we need to consider, and then also the what like the risks you need to consider, so that you can allow the access to the enforcing the access to the resources what we have in the Vodafone. So and then finally like monitoring regularly, and then providing the real-time analytics around the cyber threats, as well as providing the automated incident response. So this is an important factor. It almost like acts as a like big boss camera to act on it, any unseen incidents. So as my colleague explained, Diego, so there are many challenges which we face. Many times we see the lot of escalations happens to allocate incidents on the critical times to fix something. So these escalations are very common across the organization. So our architecture is to eliminate exact these challenges. So the combining the zero trust security and the AI-enabled zero-touch operations, which involves around the user services and infrastructure services, and then like the IAM services and the ops services. So these combination would help us to achieve the zero trust security and the AI-enabled zero-touch operations. So every building block of this architecture is important to achieve this one. So as AI-enabled environment, what we need to target is not only the humans, also the AI ops agents, which allows to do the addressing the incidents or the issues associated to the infrastructure services. Before doing that, make sure that they have the right access, and then their credentials are protected, and then as well as making sure that they are always informed about by through the observability services and then incident services. So these were supported by this vendor, like one of them special mention to the HashiCorp. So we are working with them since 4 years, delivering the PKI capabilities and securing the credentials and the data anonymizations, also protecting our infrastructure, either it will be within the network or the digital IT spaces. And then also the SailPoint, which is supporting the IAM governance, and then all the cyber security standards and policies it is supporting. So we introduced the boundary here to enable the remote access service, and then ensuring the PagerDuty to support the AI ops, and then also Dynatrace for the observability service with the BMC as an ITSM service. So how this architecture will be in action is the user services. Yeah, user services who want to access like infrastructure, they need to raise a access request through the IAM solution, which is supported by SailPoint to govern and provision the access. So, and then also making sure the providing the identity and the either whether it be device identity or human identity would be secure in the IDP service, and then making sure that accounts are provisioned to the infrastructure services. Additionally, it should make sure that it secure the credentials to the vault, and then these infrastructures are monitored for any related to the infrastructure issues or the cyber security threats. These are monitored and observed through the observability stack. And then if any incidents or occurs, either in form of incident or alert, it will need to be delivered to the ops engineer or the like AIOps agent. So before allocating that, there'll be a kind of validated with the remote access service through the boundary, which is basically to validate and then ensure that the user has the right access. And then also boundary would check against the IDP service, make sure that then allocate the incident to the ops agent and the AIOps agent to address the issues. So to access those services, issue the like passwordless access credentials for the user through the boundary to enable them to fix or address any incidents or the security threats which are required to address. Yeah.
Right. This is an interesting technical solution, but everything you work for is the business outcomes. I think as a leadership track here, we're looking at the return on investment. We're not looking at the engineering as much. So for us, the business outcome for this solution is the improved security posture and the application of the zero trust principle and the approach of least privilege to our systems and our connectivity. Some of the outcomes that we will achieve through this solution, the implementation of this solution, is simplification and risk reduction, which both are working towards our overall strategy of cost optimization and, as we said multiple times, protecting the company from the risk of external attacks, data exfiltration, and so on. But also the agility and the increase or reduce time to market, so increased efficiency in delivery from our teams. The cost optimization is also achieved by reducing the number of systems that we need to maintain and the licensing fees and the management overhead. So overall, reducing the number of moving pieces allows us to be more efficient and more effective with our resources. Another important point is the agility in onboarding resources. Again, big companies often have teams that change over time. I'm talking about software engineers, I'm talking about infrastructure engineers that may be reallocated from one project to another, from one PI to the next. If you work in agile sprints, it could be even from a sprint to the next. And these people need to be onboarded to the right systems and tools, which can be sometimes time-consuming and actually reducing their efficiency overall. The implementation of this solution through integrating HashiCorp, Vault, Boundary, and PagerDuty will allow us to reduce the time that it takes to shift resources from one project to another. With regard to next steps that we are going to take, first of all, scaling the approach that we've taken to this initial use case to multiple use cases. I showed you a slide about the current state. There were a number of names under the current connectivity approach that we have. So as you can imagine, for now, it's not one size fits all. It will take us some time to then extend the architecture of this solution to cover all of those cases. But at the same time, we have another challenge, which is possibly, which is systems that that are not integrated with our identity management and service management solutions currently. Systems that can be, for example, that can have local authentication and authorization databases and so on. And that's the next step of extending this solution to encompass those systems and integrate those with Vault and ephemeral credentials. I think one thing that escaped me earlier is the importance of the ephemeral part of the credentials here. The reason why Vault and Boundary are so key to this implementation is the fact that we can eliminate credentials, Excel sheets, or credentials that are shared in Slack channels or that are stored in engineers' laptops. These credentials don't exist until they're actually needed. They're created on the fly and they're destroyed as soon as they're not needed anymore. That's where the increase in our security posture comes from, the fact that as much as an attacker may get hold of a set of credentials, they're already no longer valid by the time they get them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.